resource person, honored head of the department, enthusiastic DBT coordinator, dear colleagues, and my dear student friends, warm good evening to everyone. As education systems are expanding and intensifying, the creation of new jobs and opportunities are changing the way individuals make their career choices. With such changes in place, career planning has become more complex and confusing. Today, this webinar on career guidance program will benefit you a lot in finding answers to your doubts and research in future. So I offer a gracious welcome to our head of the department, Mrs. B. Nirmala, who owned academic excellence, systematic planning, and timely execution serve as a beacon light to our department. You are an inspiring teacher to the teaching and learning fraternity. A hearty welcome to you, ma'am. Dr. S. Aram, DPT Coordinator and Associate Professor of Physics. Her efforts need to no introduction. She is always an inspiration for each one of us. It's my honor to welcome her to this webinar. A bouquet of welcome to you, ma'am. And I'm very glad to introduce today's resource person, Dr. P. Matheshwaran, Assistant Professor of Physics, Konganadu Arts and Science College, Coimbatore, to you all. He got Best Student Award in MSc at Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya College of Arts and Science. He got fellowships at Inter-University Acceleration Center, New Delhi, and project fellow at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. His PhD thesis proposal was sanctioned by Inter-University Accelerator Center, New Delhi. Uh, he has completed one major and one minor projects, and currently one major project is going on under his investigation. One PhD and two MPhil students were completed their research under his guidance. He is expert in handling analytical techniques and instruments such as XRD, SEM, UV, PL, LCR analyzer, Keithley meter, and thin film deposition instruments. He published book chapters named as Spectroscopic Methods for Nanomaterials Characterization in Micro and Nanotechnologies elsewhere in the year 2017. He published 30 journal articles in international journals also. And he is the reviewer of Wacom Journal of Electronic Materials and International Journal of Engineering and Research. He is involving various activities in college, and he got a meritorious faculty award in the year 2017. We are indeed fortunate to have such an eminent resource person with us. I'm sure that you will enrich a lot. On behalf of all assembled here and on my own behalf, I extend a very warm welcome to our resource person. Welcome you, sir. A warm welcome to the members of the department who works round the clock with absolute selfless spirit and encouragement to serve the student community. I welcome the student community who are the real beneficiaries of today's webinar. Once again, I welcome you on and all present here. Now I invite the resource person to take over the session. Please, Matis.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to one and all. Thank you for your nice introduction, ma'am. And it's my pleasure to join with you on this special occasion. And I thank the management and principal and head of the department, Sri B. Nirmala, ma'am, and my dear colleagues for giving me this opportunity to interact with the students, even in a pandemic situation. So I thought that we are active still, even though when we skip the regular mode. But I have been invited to deliver talk on opportunities for the MSc graduate students, and I thought that it's a right time to discuss about these factors, and I'm also happy with that. And moreover, I also belongs to the same geographical background and the middle class economical background. So I thought that I could really understand the situation, what the students were expect at the stage of the completion of an MSc graduate and whatnot. And directly we will move on to the slides. Just I'm going to share my entire desktop screen. Ma'am, I hope the slide and my voice is audible, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
You're
thank you.
audible and PPT also visible.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And first of all, we look out the opportunities for MSc Physics graduate. Anyhow, we had a lot of struggle up to this end to complete this MSc program and whatnot. And I'm proud to say that we physics have a unique characteristics. What are the unique characteristics? Actually, we studied the natural phenomenon about the science and technology. I am not at all going to bore about that because we already studied from the school days itself what is physics and so on. And what are the unique characteristics actually we acquire knowingly or unknowingly. This I have summarized here. Then idea and thought process. We have a different kind of idea and lot of ideas, and we have enormous amount of a thought process initiated as a physicist, and we have a set of protocols and boundary conditions. Say how the systematic approach can be done with the help of so many kind of a thing. And we do an experiment theoretically and experimentally with the available resources, and we may acquire the result from that, and we can summarize the results. And in order to support the determined value, we can do the theoretical mapping also with that particular formula or a suitable formula. Then we can corroborate the results from the theoretical expected results and what we got from the experimental one. Okay, from this we can easily conclude and we give a solution for the particular problem. This is the idea we already acquired in mind. For example, uh, if we try to calculate or to determine the Young's modulus value, then we have a clear idea or objective what we are going to have it, the determination of a Young's modulus. And what is the protocol? Set of the protocol or boundary condition. We have two different methods of. Simply, we can say that it's a uniform bending method and non-uniform bending method. Okay, which one we are going to use that? Okay, once you have selected this, you do an experiment accordingly with the available resources, and you can get the results or you can get the summary of that. Okay, now you can calculate the value from the theoretical mapping method, or by theoretically you can apply the number of value of parameters, then apply suitable formula to calculate the value. Now you corroborate the experimentally observed one with the theoretically observed, then finally you get a conclusion or the determination value. So this is the systematic approach a physics can do everywhere. Now in other subjects we cannot say that this is the usual process. But as a physicist, we usually follow in anywhere else. Okay. Actually, this is the only subject which covers from the macroscopic level to a microscopic level. For example, we can deal with the universe and supernova, galaxies, and so. But at the same time, we can deal with the quantum mechanics and nanotechnology, nanoscience, and all. But on other subjects, actually, if we consider chemistry as a one important one, but actually most of the chemists will locate over in the microscopic scale itself, how the chemical reactions may occur or like that. But as a physicist, we can cover from the microscopic nano, even pico scale range to up to the macro level board. And we have a lot of mechanisms available here for classical mechanics or quantum mechanics or relativistic mechanics, whatever may be the thing where we are going to apply it. So we have a lot of protocols and so many things. So we feel proud that we have acquired a lot of knowledge from that. Yeah. The same example I have quoted here, the Young's modulus value. Okay, a simple formula is available for non-uniform bending method. Y is equal to mg L cube divided by 4 b d cube s. So we have a nearly 6 parameters were involved: mg, L, b, d, and s. Actually, when we consider this formula, actually the three parameters are in numerical manner. So m, g, and l are we may consider as an enhancer to enhance the value of a Young's modulus, or it can have a direct relationship with the our objective Young's modulus. And bottom available number of parameters are there. Three number of parameters: b, d, and s. Again, here also we can correlate this. These three parameters will reduce the value of a Young's modulus or have an indirect proportional with our objective. So the same parametric formula we are going to apply on the research problem itself. What are all the known factors? What are the unknown factors? We might not have it, but anyway, we are going to list out the affected areas, and you can solve one by one, and finally you get the exact or you can locate the exact problem where it is arises, and that's called relativity factor, and how long it will take, and so many things. That's all 1 by 4 maybe call it as a relativity factor. So a simple formula can itself able to define a problematic function, and which will give you a relativistic answer also. And from the BSc physics, we might have studied the properties of matter, heat and thermodynamics, mechanics, optics, like that, because these are all the things we acquire the basic and fundamental knowledge about our general physics. But ultimately we may end up with a nanoscience also, not only a fundamental thing, but we may little bit discussing about this nanoscience also. But when you consider the MSc physics, most of the topic, or we can say that the 50% of the syllabus will be covered with the theoretical concepts. But the two important in our basic physics, classical mechanics, quantum mechanics, mathematical physics, electromagnetic theory, and condensed matter physics. These are mostly related with the theoretical concepts. And nuclear physics, modern optics, energy physics, nowadays we call it as a nanoscience, nanotechnology, semiconductor electronics, and communication physics, thin films, crystal growth, etc., etc. So you already acquired the knowledge about these variety of topics. Okay, once you acquired, then what will be the next one? So after completing immersive physics, then what about your decision? Actually, either you are going to have a decision of yourself, or the decision will be made by friend or a parent. Okay, that should be defined at first. So if you understand this three functionality, then you can move into further. Then what are the things we learned till date that I have explained on the previous slide with the help of this the topic. That's from we acquired the knowledge from that, and skill developed. Skill development, nothing but you can have a typewriting skill, and communication skill, and short writing skill, and so on. Okay, what we expect from the knowledge and skill developed. At the end of the 5 year, what we are expecting that either you become a researcher or a teacher, nothing but an academician, or an entrepreneur, are going to have a startup, and a technician in a reputed technical institute and industry, or you can be an administrator, and etc. Okay, how to fulfill our expectation, and where we find the opportunities to fulfill this expectation, or what is the actual pathway to open up this method of achieving this expectation. It may be gathered from parents and seniors and friends, or from the social media and daily newspapers and websites, and from the teaching fraternity or academicians and researchers, etc. And finally, who will support our research? If you are if you are from a well-to-do family, then your parents will definitely support for your research career, or even yourself can generate and fund with a part-time job, and different kind of a funding agency. Only these three methods were dominant in this funding support area. And what are the essential qualities were needed to start up this research career? First of all, we need a mathematical skill and analytical skill, because we have learned a lot of things from mathematical physics and classical quantum mechanics. So one hand have a knowledge about this application of mathematical formulas into to draw a graph on MATLAB and C++ programmer, like that. Then expertise in using an equipment. This is actually a heart of our physics subject. A student If we are not able to attend a laboratory, then I definitely said that they miss a Bible in that. So this is the heart of our subject, the expertise in using equipment and design a circuit or to construct a circuit. Yes, they should at least know the fundamental things about the circuit construction. Then how the filters will work and how the rectifiers will work and how can we do a impedance matching between the circuits and a little bit things and a research idea. Because in a research idea, you should have a confidence over that. That's called I put in this word research idea in an essential quality and computer programming. You should be well versed in MS Office and related softwares like MATLAB, Origin, and so many programs. In quality management and systematic planning, at least we should have a definite kind of an data storage system. That's which comes under the quality management, and whatever the informations you have gathered from the internet, and it should be tabulated in a perfect manner, and we should have a systematic planning over there and good communication skill also. If you done everything, then we should communicate in a proper manner, in an effective way to the journal or to the supervisor or in conference or seminar. That should be foremost important. And finally, a teamwork, because you are not at all going to work in a forest in an alone. So you are going to have a team. Either you may have a junior or senior or with other group members, and we should have some teamwork. Okay, but then after completing all the struggle, you have finished your PhD. Then, in a wide view, what are the opportunities are there? If you're really interested in research, then you can pursue a postdoctoral fellowship in abroad, and even in our own country also offering national postdoctoral fellowship called NPDF with a stipend of nearly 50,000 per month. And in addition to that, individual research consultant come lab. You can have a startup also. So you will become an entrepreneur with the PhD as a company CEO, and our own profession like an academician. You can join as a college teacher as an assistant professor level, and then as an administrator, you can start up at semiconductor industry or as a director in a semiconductor industry and energy industries and institutes. And in general physics, okay, because everyone know that after completing this MSc physics, they directly go for PhD in general physics. But actually this routine phenomena was broke up for the last 30 years. Then the students were acquired more and more knowledge from the internet, and they have diversified uh, branches in physics. Okay, first of all, if you complete a PhD in physics, then definitely we have an opportunity in our own country in Defense Research Lab, or we may call it as a directly DRDO, and Physics Research Lab (PRL), including astrophysics. There is a separate funding body for astrophysics, and radiation production centers are also available, and Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, and Bharat Bill is a Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, and National Thermal Power Corporations, and energy companies like a solar thermal energy and solar photovoltaic energy, wind energy, geothermal conversions, and even battery fuel cells. These are all the having wide opening till date, but most of the researchers are focused over an energy companies. Right now, we face a lot of energy crisis, so this over the solar and the fuel cells are the predominant one in nowadays where the people are focusing. And a classical one, it's like a nuclear physics. Even till date, the research is going on nuclear physics because I have little expertise in this particular area. Again, the same organization DRDO, which offers the job as a scientific officer, and nuclear science centers like IGCAR Kalpakam and IUAC Inter-University Accelerator Center New Delhi, and Inter-University Consortium Indore, and Bobas Atomic Research Center and TFR Mumbai. Okay, these will come under the category of nuclear science centers. So they are also offering a different kind of jobs there. And aerospace sectors, and nuclear power plants, and medical research lab. For example, nuclear medicine kind of a thing, research are going on in medical research labs, and nuclear accelerator like a pelletron and cyclotron, synchrotron accelerator labs are there. In a pandemic situation, actually, the grace over the biophysics were rapidly increased. So the defense research lab are also focusing in a related areas and services, and government hospitals. Even after completing in PhD in physics, the government hospitals also observed these physics doctorates, and medical research labs, and pharmaceutical companies, and environmental production companies are there. If anyone have any interest in astrophysics, the famous organization ISRO is there, and Variable Energy Cyclotron Centers, Kolkata, and National Atmospheric Research Center, and RMC and NCS, National Center for Seismology, and the famous one, Vikram Sarabhai Space Centers are available to get a job after completion of a PhD in astrophysics. Okay, one can looking for this job even at the MSc Physics level itself. Then what are the opportunities? MSc, if you scored a net along with MSc, you can get a direct job as a lecturer in a college, with B.Ed as a school teacher. And if you have scored just or GATE, you can be searching for a PhD in ranked institute with JRF. And with the GATE, and along with an interview process, the DRDO and BRC, DF or IUSC will observe as a scientific officer level D, E, and F. And if you have GRE grade or TOEFL grade, then you can be observed in abroad for the higher studies with the scholarships. In addition to that, the different one, radiation oncology specialist also there, with just completed an MSc Physics. You can be working as a technician there. Then the opportunities for this radiation oncologists were very, very limited, but that will be based on that interview process. And formally, the Staff Selection Commission and Union Public Service Commission (UPSC), and commonly we may call it as a group exams like IAS, IPS, and IFS service exams also available. So once you are looking for the government job directly from the MSc Physics, you can go for group exams. And private recruitments also, a lot of websites are there like a Freshers World site. There you can get a lot of jobs with the MSc Physics, even our own geographical area or in and around Coimbatore itself. Okay, actually, I wish to motivate the students to pursue a research, because nowadays we really facing a hurdle in a pandemic situation, and then how we are going to escape from this situation. So, though this picture is a really problematic one, but I will simplify step by step. Then, how can you start the research where the material is focused here? And this is a simple one. The simplest way we can get this, first of all, identifying the research problem for a PhD, and literature review usually the people will do, and setting a research question, objective and hypothesis, and choosing the study design and so on. Okay, it may end up with the eighth process, writing the report. But this will be as a common point of view. But in specific, as a physicist, what are the steps we need to follow? First of all, the topic of interest we have to choose that either you will become an astrophysics or an energy physicist or a nuclear physicist, whatever be. What is the area of interest you are really having, and what is the material actually we are looking for there? Not only area of interest, the material selection also will definitely affect our PhD period. But usually, a PhD in physics will take a while from 4 to 5 years. So you have to set a goal at an initially with this 4 years or 4.5 years what we are going to do. And I will deeply explain the first topic, how to select a material, on the forthcoming slides, and I will explain one by one. And you have to choose the university or an institution or a college. Actually, this choice of university or an institution or this college may be based on the experimental facility available. For example, if you are interested in astrophysics, then definitely you should be looking for this university or institution which offers this astrophysics PhD in astrophysics with along with the experimental facility. But don't end up with any other institute with having all kind of a facility. Then third one, the most important thing, selection of a supervisor. Even though in a particular department, a lot of faculty members were working there on a different field. But once you have chosen the topic of interest, you have to select accordingly, uh, and you have a discussion with the supervisor based on the expertise, subject expertise. Then how long he is working there, and the paper publication, and the scale of seniors, and so on. And fourth one, you have to look at the fellowship with fund, because without this, we couldn't survive in a PhD period. So the source of fund and fellowship should be a regular mode or a part-time mode, or it may be. And usually people will skip this fifth point and sixth point. Approach the supervisor with your credential and deliver a presentation. Uh, but by the namesake, I am not saying this fifth one, sixth point. Usually people will skip this. Directly, we may go to the university and apply if they forgot these things. The real problem is arises here only, the point number 5, and approach the supervisor with your credential before applying a PhD process. With your credential, nothing but with your biodata and additional certificate. Sir, this and this I have acquired till date, but I am really interested in a research area. Then I have this plan also. So I will apply for this particular position. So if possible, kindly approach like that, or kindly select me, or like that. So this is the fifth point. And while you're doing this, simply throw it. Biodata is not at all enough, and you should deliver a presentation. What you are going to expect from the supervisor and an institute, and for the fellowship. This should be clear in your presentation. Don't read the context also. So your idea and the protocol will be already defined one, but the problem will be discussed later. After considering the find this 5 and 6, then go for application process, and undergo PhD selection examination, and PhD entrance interview, and initiate the documentation. That's all so simple. Once you fix out the find number 5 and 6, then the rest of the things will be very easy. Now coming to the crucial point of this in our initial stages of the PhD, how to select a material and a methodology. Ma'am, I hope my voice is audible, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir, you are audible.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Then these crucial factors are how to select a material, because most of the students are held up at this point itself. Sorry, even though the lot of research works are going on for the decades and decades, over the 100 year, 200 year, either may I survive with this material to end up with a new phenomena. So that's called preparation of material. And especially I was belonging to thin films. So I usually add the word doping and post deposition process, or we may call it the different names. But ion beam techniques are having some unique features, so I have added here ion beam implantation and irradiation, and exposure techniques. But most of the MSc students and beginners of this PhD, they usually struck up with this material, with this the choice of material. Either you are going to start with an elemental material or a compound material. Elemental material, for example, I have to prepare a compound like a indium tellurous-selenide, which includes three different elements. Either I am going to prepare this indium selenotelluride INSE material from the elemental part with a different ratio, or I can going to purchase directly whatever will be the available in a market. That's called compound. And you can make up the compound from the elemental material with the desired quality. With the hard quenching process, you can make a compound from that. So whatever be the quality you are expected from the readily available compound material won't help your research process. So if you have a different proportions of this element, then you can pick up the different elements of different proportion and pour it in a quartz tube and melt it in a vacuum condition and go for a rotating hard furnace method and make a compound of a unique property. Then that will be supported up to the end. That elemental composition may be proportionate with its metals, a part of metal, semiconductor, and rare. The regular compound is alone available. So you can prepare a compound from the elemental method. So this is what I followed. And analyze the physical and chemical properties of your selection of material. Then what are the melting point of this selected material? Or any material having the lower melting point and other one is having a higher melting point, of the degree of difference will be so far, so the material won't mix at any point. So you have to consider about the melting point also. So the choice of material should be in a proper manner. Then oxidation state. If you mix up to prepare a compound, the oxidation states of this presenting element should be far most important. Otherwise, if the oxidation states are not at all match up to form a compound, then at last you can have the material in a brittle nature. So part of the compound uniformity in a compound may not be achieved if it chooses in a wrong oxidation states. And electronegativity, everyone knows that the electronegativity difference between the participating atoms should be very high, at least for enough greater than 1. If the electronegativity of a participating elements are less than 1, then we won't achieve any kind of a compound from that. Or even at the room temperature itself, the material gets dissipated or the material gets spoiled, because it's a highly temperature dependence, and the electronegativity also greatly affected by this. And atomic radii. And in order to make a compound or composite, you have to consider this atomic radii. Because I usually suggest this 4 parameters that you have already defined in your work, then don't worry about the future process. Definitely you may end up with a clear-cut compound with the desired property. It should be melting point, oxidation state, electronegativity, and atomic radii. None other states are greatly affected by this one. Okay, once you have selected and prepared a compound, what are the methodologies you can go for this? That's what I have already told you, that what are the facility available in our lab. Either you have a complete physical deposition techniques or chemical bath methods, but each one have its own limitation and advantages. We don't want to criticize anything, because each method is having its own unique character, its own defined character and different advantages. So the thermal evaporations, especially vacuum evaporation, flash cooperation, and electron gun, so many available methods are there in a systematic scale or in a bulk scale. In addition to that, DCF and R sputtering methods and ion beam techniques also there. And by simple chemical method also, you can prepare a thin film like a chemical bath deposition (CBD), and successive ionic layer and absorption reaction method, Silar method, dip coating method, spin coating, chemical vapor depositions, and atomic layer deposition, and so on. So the proper method, once you try this compound in a chemical in a simple chemical method, then observe the result directly. You can skip if the results are not at all perfect, then you can go for a physical kind of a thing or physical method. And once you deposited a sample, then what are the uh, other protocols to improve the property of a material? One cannot expect that once if a sample is coated over, then it will be a final one. So you have to tune the properties accordingly. It should be suitable for the end application. So the conventional thermal annealing method usually people will do in a gas atmosphere or in a vacuum atmosphere. And rapid thermal annealing, its own even this process also having its own advantages, where the materials having the low melting point can be annealed out or can be prepared with the desired property by doing this rapid thermal annealing method. Why I have chosen this rapid thermal annealing method? Actually, the material in a material composite, if any one of the material having the low melting point, it won't expect while you do the rapid quenching technique. And plasma exposure, especially this dedicated for cloths and related research, and chemical etching methods also there, especially for semiconductor silicon compounds and germanium compounds, and gamma radiation induced annealing and electron beam irradiation techniques, and low ion beam irradiation techniques also, like low energy ion irradiation and safety heavy ion irradiation technique. Okay, these are the commonly available techniques in India for the post deposition process. And what actually I have faced while I started my PhD period, I have selected a compound like indium and tellurium and selenium, and I follow the thermal evaporation process to coat a material. I successfully coated one, but while you prepare the sample, I have faced a lot of trouble. First of all, I am not able to control the source and substrate temperature and the partial pressure inside the chamber, and compound decomposition after coating. This compound gets re-evaporated from the substrate, and the effect of substrate also. So I have maintained the substrate temperature, and I have chosen the different kind of a substrate. So it's really hard to optimize these kind of a parameter, but later I came to know that these four, this melting point, oxidation state, and electronegativity, where I found that the problem is with the electronegativity. After optimizing these five parameters, source and substrate temperature, pressure, and decomposition, re-evaporation, and different substrate. Because out of these five parameters, it's really difficult to control it, and it may be complicated to achieve the monophased flame. If you try to observe a monophased, a single phased crystalline material, then it's very complicated, because optimization will be complicated once you select a material with having very small electronegativity difference. What are the hurdles I have faced? Actually, once I have prepared the sample with a definite protocol, it should be end up with the excess amount of chalcogenide or an oxide. Once if it is excess in chalcogen or deficiency in chalcogen, nothing but the selenium and tellurium materials. Because of re-evaporation, some of the materials were accumulated at the part of the slide and others will be diffusion. And the diffusion phenomena. Then later I understood that the diffusion phenomena will be different for different material, because it's a mass transport phenomena. Even after the deposition, the diffusion is far most important. So in a diffusion phenomena, if you try to diffuse a material over one other, then the depth profile will not be uniform for always. Throughout the sample. So there itself we have analyzed the two different diffusion mechanisms are occur. Stoichiometric defects like a vacancy and interstitial defects are present in your sample, then the self diffusion will be easy, but it should be electrically neutral. And interdiffusion process also, there Frankel and Schottky defects. These two interdiffusion mechanisms will be helpful to prepare a sample with a desired quality when compared to the self-diffusion phenomena. Because in a self-diffusion, the electrical neutrality is always there. It is not at all disturbed. But interdiffusion method, the electrical neutrality will be different for Frankel defect and Schottky defects. Okay, I wish to like to skip off this diffusion phenomena. And if we go for conventional experimental technique, then what are the difficulty in diffusion synthesis method? So solubility of this dopant decides the surface concentration. So while you're going for a conventional method, the surface concentration of the dopant will be higher, but in depth in another layer, it won't be distributed uniformly. So that the precise control over the dose of a dopant or the concentration of the dopant is difficult. And spatial selectivity also poor, because the depth profile in some other nature due to the variation in nucleation process, the aspect ratio of the doped column is not at all controlled. I mean, lateral height and width are not at all equal. And the dopant profile will always follow Gaussian distribution. Gaussian distribution at the center maxima, it will show the higher intensity or a higher dopant concentration, and the other outer part of this depth profile or away from the center, it will be distributed in a smaller manner. So a buried layer of dopant cannot be achieved with the help of a difficult common synthesis method. So that's how this ion beam implantation and irradiation techniques will have its own merit. So what are all the drawbacks I have listed here that can be eradicated with the help of an ion beam? So nearly 1.5 years later, I have found that I had chosen a wrong material. So I have to do this complicated or sophisticated instrumentation process like ion beam implantation in order to solve out the one by one the problems one by one. Again, the ion impurity can be controlled, but the dose also controlled, depth profile also controlled with the help of an ion implantation. Yeah, I hope how the selection of material will affect your PhD period. Nearly 1.5 years I have spent to optimize these things. Because later only I found out the exact methodology. So just before starting an experiment, but do all these parametric correlations and achieve a final solution. And source of funding, actually, I wish to dissipate this slide also with the net or gate score. If you're really interested, then the UGC, CSER, DST, and n number of funding agencies are there. But requirements are net and gate score. Then you can have a JRF at any kind of an institute. Okay, sir, till date I have not at all appeared in net or gate. Then what will be the source? Without net or gates, then you can looking for a UFR, university funded research. Nowadays it was it was startup by each and every university. This UFR is available, but have a different durations. For example, certain UFR facilities may be available for an year or for 6 months or for 2 years or like that. That availability maybe depends on the fund. And once you join the PhD under a particular guide, you can really get a UFR from the particular university itself. Even you don't want to appear any kind of an examination. That will be supported by IIT, IAC, NIT, and universities, and even some private research centers also. If you have enormous amount of a fund, then private research centers also offering this UFR. To get an UFR, the gate and net score are not at all necessary. But the simple MSc degree itself is enough to get an UFR to pursue a PhD. Then other mode of getting a fellowship to do the PhD with the project fellow. Project fellow nothing but your supervisor must have a major research project. So the period of this research project usually 3 years in India. So during this 3 years period, if you joined as a project fellow under your supervisor, uh, uh, or he or she may be acted as a principal investigator for the project also. So for the 3 years, you can pursue a PhD, but at the same time, you can be acted as a project fellow for the particular project work, and you can submit the project work as well as in addition to that project work, you can add 1 or 2 chapters, and you can submit as a your PhD thesis. So most of the universities and funding agencies will allow this kind of an a submission process. Okay, once you have joined a PhD, then what are the protocols or steps you have to follow? So I already told you that you should have a plan about 4 to 5 years approximately. So for the first 6 months, you should be dedicate your uh, energy by literature review and for case study. What all the findings are till date is available, and what actually you are looking for, and get approval. You have a discussion with your supervisor and get approval from your guide. So this is my research problem, so can I fix that problem? But after completion of this 5 years period or 4 years period, this research problem will be a current one. While you selecting this research problem, that particular problem may be worked out in currently, but after the 5 years that may not be sorted out. So when here the case study is plays a major role. So get approval from your guide with a clear presentation, and start a small experiment, and don't do it in elaborately. In just to start a small experiment and acquire some preliminary results from your experimental one. Now you can evaluate the concept either this research progress method is suitable for me or suitable, or and the relevant experimental procedures are available on what is the cost for a sample and everything you can acquire from this. And finally, you may appear in a doctoral committee meeting with the subject experts. Then they will suggest you the relevant topics for your research work, and they can permit you to continue this research work. Now you can do the elaborate experiment and characterization, both theoretically and practical. On early days, only practical examination is enough, but right now they expect the theoretical correlation also. So theoretical simulations also important along with the practical knowledge. Now you can interpret the results. Results nothing but from the theoretical one and practical one. So you make a comparative discussion, and graphically you should be address these results. Okay, don't write in a paragraph manner. You have to graphically interpret the theoretical one along with the practical results. How much the percentage of error and how much the repeatability, and so many factors will come into picture while you are interpreting the results in a graphical manner. Okay, after this comparative statement, then publish your findings in a good quality journal. We should have a high impact factor and peer reviewed journals. Okay, once you enroll in a PhD, then you will be well versed in finding a high impact factors journals related to your journey. Okay, after completion of this publication process, then you consolidate all the chapters, and from the objective to summary, and you discuss with your supervisor and get approval from that. But after that, appear in a second doctoral committee meeting and satisfy the your subject experts who already occurred in first doctoral committee meeting. So if you satisfied the objectives to results, then undergo thesis writing process and thesis corrections and ensure that he should be plagiarism free. And nowadays, our universities have keen interest on plagiarism kind of a thing. So if anyone have copied from anywhere else in internet or from the books or anywhere, then they can clearly find out with the help of a plagiarism checker software. So your thesis should be plagiarism free. And if you have found that a lot of repeated words, for example, uh, in my thesis, the thin film, the word thin film may be repeated around 500 times or 600 times. So it won't be considered as a plagiarism. So you can eliminate the repeated words from your plagiarism free software. Then only you can get the exact value of a matching. And submit your thesis on time and attend a viva's examination. But finally, uh, you should have a copy of this syndicate approval letter. So this is the usual protocol while you join the PhD. Okay. Uh, Come to the topic of interest, the women scientific scheme. Is there any special funds are available for women scientists? Actually, that was started up by 2009 itself, 9 to 10, by DST, Department of Science and Technology. We have two different schemes. Women Scientist Fellowship Scheme, WOSA for medical field, and if you have completed a medical physics, then you can go for WOSA, or by natural sciences or for like our general physics subject, then go for WOSB. WOSB. Here I have detailedly explained the WOSB belongs to natural sciences. Okay, what are the essential qualities? Only Indian women citizen and presently unemployed. So you won't be enrolled in a fellowship also. Then MSc Physics with the 2 years of research experience is essentially needed. They won't consider a freshly registered PhD student. So at least we must have a 2 years of research experience. And you should prepare a research plan about 2 to 3 pages along with the time schedule in an identified research area. And also under it should be worked out under a supervisor. So your problem will be fixed, and the whom you are going to guide, and the supervisor is also fixed in case of a OSB. And candidate with any other fellowship is not at all eligible. For example, if you have acquired a UFR, University Funded Research Project or Research Fellowship, then you won't be eligible for to getting OSB if any one of the fellowship is available. Then research publications is preferable because you have already come across 2 years of research experience after joining PhD. So you must have at least one or two publication in the relevant field. Not as a co-author, you should be the direct author. So the choice of material is already chosen. So on this particular material, you have to show your potential in the form of a research publication. Then other condition limitation is that the women have 30 to 50 years are eligible, not less than 30 and not more than 50 years. And a special case, the fellowship is a person specific. For example, the candidate is submitted a thesis, so I wish to carry over this OSB to another person. So it's not at all possible. Even after completion of this PhD, you should continue this research project until your period is going to end up with this. So the as a part of this OSB fellowship, the PhD is considered as a separate one. Even after completion of a PhD, you can receive the fund, but along with you have to work for the particular project, and at the end of the project, you can submit your project report. So in this specific cases, project report is separate from your PhD thesis. The submission periods are accordingly varying. And area of research specific, area of research also specific. You don't interchange any kind of research work after getting the fellowship, because this area of research area is also fixed, and person also fixed, and a supervisor also fixed. Nothing we won't change. So this fellowship is not at all transferable to any guide, to any other colleagues, or to any other research problems. And there should be a monitoring committee is periodically checking your progress. Then only you can get the next year fund. And other schemes for postdoctorate students are postgraduate Indira Gandhi scholarship. Actually, this was funded by UGC. Again, it's also starts from 2009 to 2011, and there are several norms are there. To get this one, it should be from nucleated from the small family, and you should be a single girl child in a family. Being only child of her parents are eligible under the scheme, a postgraduate Indira Gandhi scheme under MHRD UGC. And what will be fellowship for this WOSB project? In an WOSB, this previous one, the fellowship amount is exactly 31,000, along with house rental allowance also sanctioned per month for 3 years of duration. So 31,000 plus HRA, which depends on the city. So around 4,000 to 5,000 HRA you can acquire. So finally you can get about 38,000 per month for the period of 3 years. In addition to that, they also offer contingency amount up to 20 lakhs of amount, which should including this 31,000 per month, and you can exclude HRA and overhead charges. So the rest of the amount will be you can collect as a contingency amount. So for this contingency, you can utilize for the travel grant to appear in a conferences, seminars or like that. Then you can purchase a chemical and you do the characterization, and so many things you can do with the help of a contingency grant. But the amount won't be transferred to your account directly. This amount will be in favor of a head of the institute or a principal. Then the final audited statement of accounts done by statutory audit body. So you have to frame a network or the financial committee in your college or in our university. Then they should approve that. Finally, it should be audited by a legal auditor, and the monitoring committee will be placed. So the periodical expert meetings will be arranged when our progress will be satisfactory. Then you can get the next year fund, because it is year wise it was monitored. And sometimes we can go for the funding agency directly for like UGC or DST and IUSC, and then you have to show your progress for an year. Then you can claim the next year fund in such a way that you can acquire this amount post fellowship. And thank you for your patience, listening, and attention. If you have any queries, just you can raise.
Thank you, Matesh. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
You are an excellent presentation. Definitely, our students got an idea about the basic research, what are the qualities to do the research, and how to start the project and everything. Thank you, Matesh.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Matesh, for your excellent presentation. And you have clearly explained how to choose a material, what are the steps, and everything you have explained very clearly. Thank you so much. Really.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Very nice presentation, Matesh. Very nice.
Students, if you have any doubts, you can ask.